morning. I'm grateful to see that everyone has shown up kind of at the last minute. I thought I'd be preaching to Kazu, but that's okay. I would have preached to Kazu. One thing I enjoy doing, and it's something I've done quite a bit over my winter vacation, is I would watch debates on YouTube. They're really interesting. And you'll have both sides will argue over a topic. But usually no matter the topic, no matter the subject, the debate will usually boil down to one thing. My viewpoint is good, your viewpoint is bad. My position is good for society, while your position would be bad for society, and vice versa. The opponent would argue the opposite. So debates, no matter the topic, are usually about the nature of what is good and what is bad. So how do you know if something is good or bad? You would think it would be kind of commonsensical. I think you would say most people would know what's good and bad, but today it seems that people are very divided over what's good and what's bad. People don't really seem to know. The worldly perspective, has its answer. From the worldly perspective, good is usually whatever is seen as helpful. Whatever increases human happiness, and as such, can be quantified. Feeding one person is good. Feeding 20 people is better. The more people that are happy, the better the good. That's typically the world's perspective on what is good. Likewise, something that is harmful is bad, and is usually seen as a decrease in human happiness. This too can be quantified. Someone who steals $500 is clearly worse than someone who steals $5 because they have victimized someone more. They have caused more harm. It's kind of the no harm principle is usually what people think of as what is bad. In this way of thinking, someone or something is bad if it creates a victim. So conversely, if there is no victim, then nothing bad has happened. If there's no harm, nothing bad has happened. Back in my day, we used to call that no blood, no foul. When you were playing the game, yeah, you're okay, no foul, right? No blood, no foul. So if there's no harm, there's nothing bad has happened. While I think there is some truth to this kind of thinking, ultimately it is a very limited worldview. It's a kind of thinking that is only concerned with the physical and materialistic. The Christian view of good and bad may have a lot in common with the materialistic worldview. We may actually agree on a lot. We are both interested in promoting human happiness because Christians are also charged with addressing people's physical needs. In James chapter 2, starting in verse 14, James writes, "What good is it, my brothers and sisters, if someone claims to have faith but has no deeds? Can such a faith save them? Suppose a brother or a sister is without clothes and daily food. If one of you says to him, 'Go in peace, keep warm and well fed,' but does nothing about their physical needs, what good is it? In the same way, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead." So Christians too, we are also interested in people's physical realities. But we're not limited to that. In Mark 12, 41 through 44, something interesting happens. Starting in verse 41, Jesus sat down opposite the place where the offerings were put, and watched the crowd putting their money into the temple treasury. Many rich people threw in large amounts, but a poor widow came and put in 2 very small copper coins worth only a few cents. Calling his disciples to him, Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others. They all gave out of their wealth, but she, out of her poverty, put in everything, all she had to live on." From a purely physical point of view, this doesn't make a lot of sense. Remember, good is what increases human happiness. And obviously, the rich donations made by the wealthy people would go much further towards that than this very widow's very poor donation. You can get a lot more out of a lot more money than you could out of her little bit. But strangely, Jesus doesn't seem all that impressed by the large amounts donated, given by the wealthy people. But Jesus is very moved by that small sum, humbly and devoutly given by that widow. Why would that be? Why would Jesus value this small amount, more than the great amounts given by these wealthier people? Jesus also seems to have a very different view of what bad is. Again, according to the worldly physical view, someone or something is bad if it causes harm, if someone is victimized. But Jesus turns this idea on its head when in Matthew 5 he equates hatred with murder, lust with adultery. The world doesn't think this way. You can hate someone without hurting them. You can lust after someone without victimizing them. How can they be the same thing? And on the surface, you could agree. I would much rather someone hate me than them having tried to kill me. I agree. I would agree with that. But Jesus equates them. He says they're the same thing. Unfortunately, even some Christians seem to have taken this view. I was having lunch with a guy. I used to go to church with him back in Morgantown. And we were talking about, and our conversation sort of turned into church and all this. And he made a statement that was interesting, sort of stuck with me, where he said, "I can get behind all of the church's teachings. I buy into all of it. But I can't accept the Christian view on homosexuality. It doesn't make sense to me. You have 2 consenting adults. Who's being harmed? Where's the hurt? What's the problem?" You could probably say a lot about a lot of other sexual sin. You could probably make the same argument. But again, the Christian view of what is good and bad is not limited to the physical. Rather, we're much more interested in the spiritual. From God's perspective, what is good? What is good from God's perspective? Good is anything that brings us into line with His character. That's good. Whatever brings us closer to Him, to His way of thinking, the way He's feeling, His way of seeing things, is good. Anything that alienates us from Him is bad. Even if it doesn't physically harm anybody. As a matter of fact, many heroes of the Bible were despised by the world because they were far more interested in what God thought of them rather than what the world thought of them. In Hebrews 11, we read about people who, by great faith in God, they do wonderful and amazing things. We also read in Hebrews 11 by people who, by great faith, suffer terribly. The writer of Hebrews said that the world was not worthy of these people. Because the world only has a physical view of good and bad, it will often be morally confused. The world will shift a lot on its morality. What's acceptable 20 years ago will not be acceptable 20 years from now, a lot of times in cases. I think this is the point that Isaiah makes in 5:20, where it is written, "Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter." But because as Christians we have a spiritual view of morality, rooted in God's eternal nature, we can have a much clearer view, a more consistent view of what is good and what is bad. I think it's an interesting story. You may not have known this, but in 1930, in America, it was the height of the Great Depression. And a prominent citizen of Chicago opened up a soup kitchen. This soup kitchen served 3 free meals a day to thousands of people every day, feeding the hungry, the unemployed. You would look at it and say, wow, look at these good works. That's amazing. Who was this saint? Who was this paragon of virtue? This great guy? You probably heard of him. His name was Al Capone, the infamous mobster. Although his soup kitchen did good for a lot of people, it didn't do him any good, because Capone's actions did nothing to conform him into the image of Christ, which is the purpose of every Christian, is to become more and more in the image of Christ. For the Christian, our good deeds are not really good unless they are moving us more into the image of Christ. That's our purpose. That's what Christ died for us to do. That's the freedom God has given us. And that's the point. Everything we do, all the good we do, all the bad we avoid, is because we love God and we want to be more like Him. Thank you.
Have thine own way, Lord, have thine own way. Thou art the potter, I am the clay. Mold me and make me after thy will, while I am waiting, yielding and still. Have thine own way, Lord, have thine own way. Search me and try me, Master, today. Whiter than snow, Lord, wash me just now, as in thy presence humbly I bow. Have thine own way, Lord, have thine own way. Over my being, absolute sway. Fill with thy Spirit, till all shall see Christ only always,